As a child, she grew up with her father's war pilot stories, watching the stars shine in the sky every night. In her youth, while her peers followed rules, she listened to the wind, conversed with machines. When she joined the army, they said, "Not for a woman." Her talent overlooked, her delicate build highlighted. Now, at the most prestigious aviation drill, her eyes fixed on a trembling helicopter convoy. The senior pilots next to her grumbled, "Pretty faces wouldn't understand." But minutes later, when that helicopter crashed, all hope would rest in the wisdom of those delicate hands. So, how did this pilot, thought to break all rules, become the sole hero in the Army's biggest crisis? And at that moment, the sky whispered her name. In the endless expanse of the Nevada desert, bathed in the brilliant midday sun, Operation Sky Guardian, one of the U.S. Army's largest aviation drills, was in full swing. Young Lieutenant Maya Lopez, in her early 20s, with her crisp new uniform and sharp gaze, stood at the observation tower overlooking the drill area. She quietly stood among the senior officers and experienced pilots around her. Maya spent her childhood in a small New Mexico town, growing up with her father's, a retired Air Force pilot, war pilot stories. Every night, she would gaze at the shining stars from her window, dreaming of endless sky adventures with the model planes her father gave her. Her father always told her, "You don't just fly a plane, you talk to it, you listen to the sky." While her peers strictly followed school rules, young Maya learned to listen to the complex dance of the wind, the subtle hum of every engine, and to almost converse with machines. In her early youth, she had brought an old Cessna her father had given her back to life from parts deemed unflyable. When she joined the Army, her innate talent immediately drew attention. However, she was often sidelined due to prejudices like "not for a woman" and her delicate build. Her talent was undeniable, yet she faced criticism for being too intuitive, not sticking to rules, or that this job isn't for women. Once, during flight training, she was disciplined for an unprotocol-like but successful maneuver, yet she wasn't completely dismissed because she completed the mission. But Maya always believed that the most important rule was to complete the mission and keep people safe. Senior pilots called her "pretty face" and whispered, "more suitable for social media." Now, in the tower beside her, Senior Pilot Major Sarah Thorne was talking about the digital systems of the latest helicopter models. "These beasts even repair themselves, Lieutenant Lopez," Major Thorne said with a smile. "Piloting is now just about pressing buttons." Maya faintly smiled, saying nothing, but her eyes were fixed on the helicopter convoy advancing across the terrain. She knew that even the most modern systems sometimes couldn't be as sensitive as an ear that listened to a machine's whisper. The drill was proceeding flawlessly. The sky was azure blue, visibility excellent. F-16s roared at high altitude. The helicopter convoy was advancing synchronously towards the designated area. Everything seemed to be going as planned. However, Lieutenant Maya Lopez's keen senses detected something out of the ordinary. There was a slight abnormality in the engine sound coming from the lead helicopter, a higher-pitched, tenser vibration than it should be. Maya's internal alarm bell, a familiar sound from years of experience, began to ring. There was a problem. She immediately turned to Major Sarah Thorne standing next to her. "Major," Maya said, her voice low but urgent. "There's a strange sound coming from the lead helicopter. It seems like an engine abnormality." Major Thorne looked at Maya with a mocking expression. He rolled his eyes. "Look at this rookie," he muttered to Captain Alex Rodriguez next to him. "These are state-of-the-art female lieutenant. We detect everything remotely. You, let us do our job, pretty faces wouldn't understand." Maya's faint smile vanished. They had underestimated her once again, just as they had during training. The major's gaze swept over Maya as if she were just an inexperienced novice with only theoretical knowledge. A few minutes later, the conversations from the radios abruptly ceased. Then, strange noises began coming from the engine of one of the lead helicopters. Within seconds, the helicopter's rotors began to slow down, then stopped with a terrifying screech. The helicopter began to lose altitude uncontrollably. Panic screams rose in the middle of the drill area. All helicopters in the convoy were stunned by the leader's descent. Pilots frantically tried to stabilize their own controls. Modern systems remained silent. They couldn't detect the fatal error in the engine, just as they couldn't see the abnormal vibrations. Major James Miller, the young operations commander, furiously yelled into the radio, "What do you mean, no connection? What do you mean you can't detect the malfunction? Find a solution immediately." As Major James Miller's voice desperately echoed on the radio, Maya Lopez broke away from the crowd. She headed directly towards the main command center of the drill. Young lieutenants and technicians, not taking her seriously, blocked her way. "Ma'am, what are you doing?" one grumbled. "This isn't a playground. You're creating a security breach." Maya, with determined steps, pushed forward. She reached Major Miller's side. "Major," she said, her voice calm but authoritative, "I know the problem. I understood it from the vibration. If you let me look at the vehicle, I can fix it." Major Miller turned to Maya. His face was a mix of panic and astonishment. As he looked closely at Maya's face, his eyes suddenly lit up. At that moment, Major Miller caught a glimpse in Maya's eyes of the look he had seen in her own training from some legendary female pilots who talked to machines but didn't fit the system. He himself had learned in his youth how valuable unconventional but talented pilots could be, regardless of gender. A whisper escaped Major Miller's lips. "Lieutenant Lopez, is that true?" Major Miller immediately snapped to attention and rendered an honorable military salute to Maya. This action stunned all the young lieutenants and personnel around. Lieutenant Alex Rodriguez yelled, "Major, what are you doing? Who is this rookie? Are you saluting a woman?" Major Miller furiously roared, "Silence! That is Lieutenant Maya Lopez. Bring her here. She understands the heart of even the most modern systems. Take her to that helicopter. Do exactly as she says. Immediately." The young lieutenants moved with shock and hesitation. "But Major, there's no time left, and she wouldn't understand these state-of-the-art helicopters. She's a woman. How could she?" they complained. Major Miller's face turned crimson with anger. "Do exactly as I tell you. She is our only hope right now." He turned to Maya Lopez. "Lieutenant Lopez, I am at your command." Part 4. The Language of the Sky and the Rescue Operation. Maya Lopez ran towards the wreckage of the falling helicopter, while young engineers and technicians scurried around in a panic. The helicopter's pilots were severely injured inside the wreckage. Rescue teams couldn't reach the scene due to communication breakdown and the dangerous crash zone. Maya approached the wreckage, that familiar cold steel feeling taught to her by her father, known by her own touch. Despite its modern design and complex electronics, for Maya, every helicopter had a soul, and she could hear its whisper. She gently touched the helicopter's exterior. The vibration indicated a balance problem inside the engine. There was a tiny, invisible crack in one of the rotor blades. This was creating a resonance effect, causing the helicopter to lose control. Maya had developed a long-standing relationship with that machine. This relationship was a flow of information that no sensor or computer could decipher. She gave instructions without hesitation. His voice was clear, even amidst the steam rising from the wreckage. "Hand me that tool. Secure the rotor head. Now loosen this screw on the stabilizer fin." The young engineers, astonished, complied with her seemingly simple but vital instructions. For them, this was a completely intuitive approach, not found in any protocols they had memorized. Maya worked solely with her hands and eyes. Though profusely sweating, her movements resembled those of a surgeon. She felt every part, listened to every sound. In a short time, she found a way to temporarily stabilize the crack in the rotor blade, and made an adjustment that would allow the helicopter to fly again. Despite being a new graduate, her talent, which could prepare an unfixable helicopter for flight again, shone once more. Maya took control of the helicopter and moved into the pilot's seat. The pilots on the ground watched her in astonishment. "Lieutenant Lopez, what is she doing?" "That helicopter can't fly," they yelled. But Maya took control of the helicopter. She only listened to the wind, only listened to the machine. She closed her eyes, then opened them. The only things that existed for her were the whisper of the sky and the rhythm of the machine. She maneuvered to rescue the other pilots from the wreckage. The communication network in the drill area was re-established. Thanks to Maya's swift and silent intervention, the helicopter successfully took off from the disaster area. This anomaly, which was thought to be a technical malfunction due to bad weather, had been understood only by a young female pilot from the sound and vibration of the engine. The helicopter, despite its damaged rotors, glided like a bird in Maya's hands. As it moved away from the crash site, an incredible wave of relief spread over the unit. The air lightened, as if an invisible burden had been lifted from them. The rescue teams on the ground, with the first sound from the radio, reported, "Helicopter airborne, damaged but under control." When Major James Miller heard this news on the radio, his eyes filled with tears. Lieutenant Lopez, she did it. Maya slowly landed the helicopter in the designated landing zone. Pilots and engineers watched her in astonishment. No damaged helicopter could have taken off under those conditions. When Maya exited the cockpit, Major James Miller quickly came to his side and saluted her respectfully. "Lieutenant Lopez, words fail me. You are a legend. This is a day the Army will never forget." Maya smiled, the wrinkles on her face deepening. "Just doing my job, Major," she said. "I listened to the heart of the helicopter. It always tells the truth." That day, Lieutenant Maya Lopez, whom senior pilots had called Pretty Face and thought couldn't handle this job as a woman, had once again become the Army's hidden hero. Her wisdom was far more valuable than rigid rules. True power and knowledge were measured not by age or strict adherence to protocol, but by experience and that unique connection with the machine. In the post-operation analysis, Lieutenant Maya Lopez's critical rescue operation was recorded as one of the most remarkable achievements in military history. Experts began to study her intuitive piloting method. In the Army, it wasn't Maya's delicate build or pretty face that was being discussed, but her undeniable talent. The pretty-faced pilot label was replaced by a legendary title like Grace of the Sky. One of the generals stated, "Lieutenant Lopez, you are one of the greatest assets of the Army. We need talents like yours. A special directive will be sent for you to join the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment." Maya Lopez, a week later, was leading the new flight simulation program at the military base. Among her students were some of the pilots who had previously underestimated her. Now they all listened to her with rapt attention. Maya taught them not just from the flight manual, but also how to feel the wind, listen to the helicopter's whisper, and most importantly, how to unravel the mystery of the sky with an unprejudiced mind. "Sometimes," Maya said, "the most important flights are made in front of people who would never trust you because of your unconventional approach. And that moment is when not only the target, but all expectations are transcended." This story proves how deceptive appearances can be, and that the greatest courage can sometimes come from the most unexpected places. True heroes do not live in. This story proves how deceptive appearances can be, and that the greatest courage can sometimes come from the most unexpected places. True heroes do not live in headlines, but in hearts and in their silent actions. They are the ones who dare to see the truth in the mirror. Share your own story with us. Have you ever been judged by your appearance? Or witnessed someone rise when no one believed in them? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters. Subscribe to Truth in the Mirror. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories and unexpected transformation moments. Hit the bell icon to be notified instantly of our new videos.